Look, competition gets soft when we breaking them off. Tell the fast back off that you want the guitars. To the chest, no rest. Feel me next to me, John. Come test, player pass me the ball. We don't run from the law, it's the law. God, we don't run from the law, it's the law. God, we don't run from the law, it's the law. God, we don't run from the law. You're irrelevant, you the consuming, you and your delegates. Fellowship, me and my trooper, we keep intelligent, elegant. Heavy shit dropping just like an elephant. Pelican, assassinate the nation for the hell of it. We don't run from the law, it's the law.
Ringcast, we are back. Another COVID edition, shall I say. We're easing out of lockdown, but things have been happening slowly but surely in the boxing world. We had our first card earlier this week with Shakur Stevenson. That was a pretty easy victory. We had another card, I think it was yesterday now. Josh Greer was upset in his fight. But we're just going to get straight into it, obviously. Recently, Black Lives Matter, in response to the whole George Floyd, rest in peace, the George Floyd murdering, which was quite tragic. And obviously, as a result of that, a whole movement started, which is quite positive. And then AJ in Watford went to his local protest and just read out a poem that was written by one of the members of the community. And within that poem that he read out, it was mentioned that, it was suggested that you should support Black-owned businesses, make sure you support them and shop at Black-owned businesses. Before you lot get into it, I'm just going to say, if anyone mistook what AJ said for being racist, then you're a prick.
I think that sums it up, to be honest, because at the end of the day, everyone, all other races do it. Asians support Asian businesses, Jews support Jews, etc. What he said was nothing wrong. He said basically hit the organisations that do discriminate, hit them where it hurts, and promote your local community, promote Black businesses, support Black businesses. Nothing wrong with that. But you're going to get a lot of people, as we've seen, jumping on the he's being racist, he's anti-white, anti-everything apart from Black, when literally he's just being pro-Black. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, the fans, they all come out of the woodwork. So I was part of a few boxing groups, they all come out of the woodwork. Basically the same lines. They hope Fury smashes him, rah. So yeah, it's good that that's pulled out all his fanboys, his so-called fans, out of the woodwork, and you can see who's about what now.
It's funny. I mean, I was saying this yesterday. If you actually look, and you don't even need to dissect what he said to a huge degree. He's not saying stop buying from white people, don't take money from the white people. He's not saying that. What he's saying is put money back into Black businesses and expand. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because what you're doing is you're creating something from within and expanding as a society, as a community. So there's nothing wrong with that. And it's like Simon said, it's just an opportunity for racists to come out of the woodwork, I think.
Yeah, I think your dog agrees, Hesse, first of all. But I think what you guys are saying is 100% correct. There's not really much for me to add to it. All I got to say is anybody who's chatting all of that rubbish, it's like my shades, I can't see you, you're getting blocked. I have no time for it. You know what I mean? It's just stupid. It's just a reason for all of these clowns to jump in and make it white versus Black, when really it should be about equality. And it's that simple. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about that, really.
Do you think they're looking for another reason to hate on the guy?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
obviously he's not perfect. He's got a lot of flaws.
No, but a lot of people,
no one's perfect.
A lot of people waiting to trip up, and you see it a lot with the British fan base when they support guys. As soon as it doesn't have to be Black fighters, Asian fighters, any fighter. If they're British, they slip up. Everyone jumps off the bandwagon. They're a bum overnight. You saw it when he lost to Ruiz. A lot of people jumped on that. He's a bum. He's a overhyped bodybuilder. Now they're back on the bandwagon. Now he won again, and they're back off the bandwagon when he's fighting Fury. So they can't make their minds up, really. And I think just touching upon the poem, straight after he said what he said, he also said straight after other communities should do the same. So people are just picking and choosing what they want to attack the guy with. You know, everyone supported him on his come up, but now he's at the top of the game. People want to see him fall down, so they're going to always come out and pick him apart for anything.
I made the comparison last week to Amir, and I know we bring up Amir quite a lot, and we've had this topic of racism before when it comes to him, but I see parallels with both AJ and Amir when it comes to racism. The early success that both Amir and Joshua had, the shoulders of a nation in the Olympics, the praise that he got from the whole UK, both of them. And then there was a sudden change in both scenarios. With Amir, I felt that it was the Bradis Prescott loss, and it literally was like a flick of a switch where all the racists came out and the criticism was there. And I felt with Joshua, it was similar when he lost to Ruiz. You always felt with Joshua that there was some criticism there before Ruiz beat him. But I felt that when Ruiz did beat him, then all of the racists came out and started attacking AJ. So I do think there are parallels with both of these boxers, Amir and Joshua, when it comes to, you know, racism in the UK and them coming out vocally as much as they have. Is that something that you guys share in terms of an opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to actually come out, and I get your sentiment. I wouldn't necessarily say I fully agree with that, because there haven't really been any occasions where I've noticed the tone of like any AJ slander being racial. Even when he lost to Ruiz, it was just more, like Simon said, a case of build you up to bring you down. I do feel like, as with Amir, there are people who there's that bit of extra sauce added when they're Asian, when they're black, and they're rich, and there's a fall from grace. I think the skin color kind of adds a bit of sauce to it at times. It's hard to quantify, it's hard to specify. I can't necessarily prove that anyone's come out and been, you know, blatantly, you know, but sometimes you get some of those vibes, and I think it's weird when you hear from the Fury fan base. I mean, Fury himself made his own sort of comments around the Churchill statue and stuff. But even with that,
you know what, that was super disappointing for somebody who has quite a diverse team around him, as Tyson Fury does, and for somebody who's quite recently been a man of the people per se. And someone who's a big fan of Fury, obviously, I was really disappointed with the Churchill comments and this act that he kind of played up to. It's like he took up the role that racists wanted him to take up, to have this black versus white, this big white hope kind of character that these racists wanted him to be. And I feel like he's accepted that position based on what he said last week. And I might be completely wrong with that, but that's me looking on the outside, somebody who's very critical of AJ, somebody who's a big fan of Fury, but somebody looking at it and thinking, you know what, that's a pretty shitty thing for you to latch onto when you can see the criticism that AJ is getting for something he shouldn't really be getting criticized for. And yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it.
Yeah, I think I just want to say I feel like Fury's a calculated guy. He's clearly a cool guy in terms of being accepting of everyone. I don't think there's any real hatred in his body. I do feel like he was just taking up the opposite side of whatever AJ was getting slack for. He was like, yeah, I'm going to take up the other side. And I do feel like there has been over the years almost a comparison that Fury fans like to make. They say, oh, well, Fury's always discriminated against because he's a traveller and stuff like that. So AJ gets favourable treatment over him. So I do feel like it's almost like an aha moment for Fury fans to be like, oh, yeah, look what AJ's saying. He's racist. How can you support him? It's all double standards and stuff. And I think I feel like it's building up. I feel like for Fury, it's part of the build up to the fight, as opposed to anything consciously racial on his end. I don't know what you lot think.
I have to respectfully disagree with you, Henry. Only for the mere fact that when he fought against
All right,
Wilder, if you
question
remember.
time.
No, but I'm just saying when Fury fought Wilder, obviously we understand the first fight. That is, we understand that he just come off, the mental health issues and all of that stuff. But I feel like he did play on a lot of that during that build up as well. Even to the point where Wilder, got into it with Raheem as well, and he made the point. And I just felt like Fury is an opportunist in the sense that he will find ways to get sort of build his fan base. Oh, AJ said this, okay. Well, now let me make this opportunity to sort of use this as make it them against us. And from that perspective, I don't respect it. I don't rate it. He's a great fighter, but I just feel that really rubbed me the wrong way. He didn't really need to say that at all. Because I think obviously if you watch the interview with Michelle as well, there was no need to even get into that, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. And after that, bro, I'm going to be honest with you. I hope AJ knocks him out just for that.
I think we're going into dangerous territory when we're questioning his mental health at that time and suggesting that he overplayed it or took advantage of that. I mean, I know. I'm
gonna say, not to cut you off. I'm gonna say I completely disagree. I don't feel like Fury refer to anything racial. There was no undertones coming from Fury. In fact, it was coming from Wilder's side. So I do feel like that is unfair, and I hope that is obviously that's your opinion, David, and that's obviously
yeah.
I just want to make it clear this isn't.
Yeah, I think the point I'm trying to make is that he finds, okay, yeah, obviously not to downplay these sort of mental health issues, and we understand that and everything like that, but like I just feel he uses it as a beacon to sort of make get his point across. And in this case, obviously, it's a situation where the comment didn't need to be made. It just didn't need to be made. You can just say, look, I understand what AG is doing, respect it, boom, move on. But he decided to lay into it and make his own point just to make it seem like it's us versus them, and I don't really rate him.
Yeah, what were you saying, Steve? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. For me again, it's just the comment about being opportunistic and maybe taking full advantage of the whole mental health stuff. I know a number of people who have been saying the same thing, that maybe they think that he overplayed it in order to get public sympathy and getting the public on side. I think we're in a very dangerous territory if we start suggesting those things, because I just don't believe that. I don't think someone would do that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, Fury, so there's two things. Fury with the Churchill, romanticizing about the Churchill statue, and then him saying that he'd be crucified like Jesus if he said what AJ said.
Yeah, and calling the speech, the poem he read out, he said it was a speech that was bullshit.
Yeah, I find it really hard to believe that if Fury had said, let's invest in gypsy-owned businesses, let's support our fellow gypsies, he'd been crucified at all. It'd have been the complete opposite reaction to what AJ got. Complete opposite. They'd be like, the gypsy king's here, blah, 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 blah. So he's a bit of a hypocrite, really.
Yeah.
I
agree.
And I think it's coming, I don't think he's racist whatsoever. I think it's coming from a place of ignorance that we see a lot of people fall into, that, even some of these guys coming out calling AJ, I don't think they're racist. They're just being ignorant. They're not seeing the difference between being pro-black and then being anti-white. And I think Fury has just fallen into that completely. Yeah. And a bit what you said, Henry, he's definitely playing the game as well to put up the fight. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point to make. It's important to not just label anyone who's not sort of singing from the same hymn sheet as most of us in terms of the concept of, Black Lives Matter, and let's uplift our own and etc. I feel like there are people who are going to oppose that, who are clearly obviously racist, but I do feel like any sort of criticism of the movement, it's important to not just label them racist straight out or imply that, Fury's, deliberately, racist. Not racist, but like...
Nah, but I feel like he's just using that opportunity. He's opportunist.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, it's literally just a case, I feel, of him, whatever side AJ's on, he's just picking the other side. He can see the fight on the horizon. you know, everyone's fully documented in saying that in terms of mind games, Fury's got him beat. So I feel like this is probably the start of it. I really, because I've got a lot of respect for Fury. I think he's proper switched on as well. I really find it hard to believe that he saw that poem read saying support black-owned businesses, support your own community, and think that there was anything wrong with that. I feel like he's definitely trying to play a bit of games there. And then moving on to the Churchill thing, we won't have to go on to that too much, because I mean,
Fuck the Churchill statue, man.
From the limited amount of the very limited amount of research I've done, I'm not sure how partial Winston Churchill was towards the Irish, and I believe Fury's of Irish traveller.
He hated the Irish, bro. He hated the Indians. He hated blacks. He hated the Irish. He fucking hated everyone that was not an Aryan Brit. And not even Brit. He fucking hated the Scots as well. English. Like, he hated the Scots as well. Like, this guy, I'm absolutely baffled how much of a pedestal we put this guy on because of his contributions to the World War. And that's cool and everything, but let's not mistake ourselves and kid ourselves. This guy was a prick, right? Winston Churchill was a fucking prick.
All right, Piers Morgan. If you want to take the piss out of politicians, go on Good Morning Britain. All right, let's stick to boxing.
I'm just saying, man. Like,
I hear you. Yeah,
all this controversy about Winston Churchill's statue, man.
To me, that's kind of what swings it in terms of me thinking Fury's just playing the game. Like, he's just picking it. This is what AJ side. I'm picking the other side. That's what I think anyway. So moving on to apparently the announcement that they've signed a 2-fight deal in 2021. Obviously, Fury's got Wilder coming up. He's contracted to face him before, and I think AJ's still mandatory with Pulev, or Pulev's the mandatory, isn't it? Or Pulev, as David likes to say.
Pulev is
favourite boxer. Been his favourite boxer for 4 years now.
All right.
Pulev.
Easy question. Does Joshua beat Pulev, and does Fury beat Wilder to set up these 2 fights?
Yes and yes.
Yeah, I think they both win. Definitely. I think obviously with the Wilder fight, you know, that he's got that haymaker. It's still going to be risky for Fury. You never know how motivated he's going to be and going back into it. He's already won it. We saw last time he fell off that cliff edge right away, he won the title. So it'd be interesting to see his state of mind going into that. I think Pulev is tailor-made for Joshua to look good, to be honest with you. And the only other road bump is now Usyk saying that he needs his shot before the Fury shot, and the WBO backing him. But looking at the WBO backing him, I think they're just probably flirting for more money from Eddie Hearn to keep them quiet. So I think as long as these 2 guys win their fights, then we will see that 2021 showdown.
I see the Usyk argument to an extent, because historically, if you are a unified champion and you're representing an organization like the WBO or the WBC, then you can then get upgraded as a mandatory for the next weight division within that organization. So as he was the undisputed cruiserweight champion and representing the WBO, you know, historically there is precedent there for Usyk to then be the WBO mandatory at heavyweight. So he does have a valid argument there, saying that unifications do supersede mandatories as well. So if you do get an all-fight unification fight between Fury and Joshua, then the unification should supersede any mandatory, including Usyk's.
Yeah, I don't see that being any way that anyone's going to stop the Fury Joshua showdown happening. No organisation. You know, I think it's going to take a bit more money to pay people off. Yeah. But I think, I can't see.
We got Dylan Whyte. You got Dylan Whyte crying about the WBC screwing him for 1,000 days. He's taken legal action this week. I mean, he's not mentioned the fact that he turned down the Joshua fight. He turned down the Pulev fight. He turned down God knows how many. He turned down the
Brazil fight. He turned down 2 final eliminators, didn't he? Brazil and Ortiz, yeah. So if he'd fought Brazil, beat him, he would have stepped in instead of Brazil against Wilder. Same with Ortiz. He would have stepped in instead of Ortiz.
Well, he would have fought Joshua instead of Ruiz last year for all of the belts.
That's the only real like
which makes no sense.
Like the AJ fight was there. He could have took it. That was his chance.
At Wembley as well. Being a sold out Wembley British Showdown.
All these other box offs, eliminators, and all that. I'm gonna be honest. The WBC have mugged him off. There's
100%.
There's always something you could have done, and I think the glaring one is take the AJ fight at Wembley in April. Hasib, you were saying for years, oh, the fight's already done. The fight's already done. They're gonna tease us with Joshua Wilder, and it will be Joshua Whyte. And we couldn't even get that, and that was down to Dylan.
And it was set up to do that. It was set up to do that.
That was down to Dylan Whyte, right?
And that was down to Dylan Whyte.
What was it? He said he wanted more money or something.
Yeah.
Or he wanted a rematch clause or something like that. Was it? What was it?
Yeah. So that was it. He got this. So there was a 2-fight deal, and he got. I think the percentage was for the rematch. If Whyte wins the first match, was too low.
Got you.
Compared to the other way around. So he wanted a higher percentage of the rematch.
Yeah, he thought he was clever because Wilder had hoodwinked everyone into thinking that, AJ and Matchroom FC are thieves in terms of the negotiations. So as soon as Wilder said, this is gonna fly, then Dylan Whyte saying, lowballing this.
Yo, competition gets soft when we breaking them off. Tell the fast back off, guess you want the guitars. To the chest, no rest, tell me next to me, John. Come test, player pass me the ball.
How long does that guy think?
We don't run from the law, it's the law. God, we don't run from the law, it's the law. God, we don't run from the law, it's the law. God, we don't run from the law. You're irrelevant, shooter consuming you and your delegates. Fellowship, me and my trooper, we keep intelligent, elegant. Heavy shit dropping just like an elephant. Pelican, assassinate the nation for the hell of it. We don't run from the law, it's the law.
If he took eliminators, he would have had a good case to step in instead of Brazil and instead of Ortiz too.
See, that's a fair point.
That's WC is saying, because there's no way he could have fought Brazil, beat him, and then Wilder couldn't have, because then Brazil would have lost his
spot.
Brazil would have lost his spot to fight Wilder. Same with Ortiz too. But from Whyte's point of view, is he's probably thinking, I've been floating around the position for this long. Why should I have to fight another guy to then get the shot?
And this is really bad. Like, I probably should have fact checked this, but I'm not really the encyclopedia of Dylan Whyte. But I do remember. It was Brazil or someone who WBC elevated over him to get the Wilder fight, just out of nowhere. Brazil. Just out of nowhere. So I do remember they said Ortiz fight that, and then the winner gets Wilder. But I do remember, it might have been.
Was that at the same time that Dylan Whyte got suspended or took a 6-month break after
I think because I feel like that was before Wilder Brazil was before Rivas Whyte, I think. So that leak, whatever the drug test was, what happened there is that was when
the WBC suspended him as.
That's when they finally got their excuse to remove him from the rankings. Before that, he'd been mugged off. They've been mugging the guy off for at least a year, literally. So he does have a leg to stand on, but could have taken an AJ fight, to be honest. And he's still on the outside looking in.
My question
is, there's no fast route in either, to be honest. I can't really see him.
So my question is, and I'm just trying to think, if I was Dylan Whyte, what would I do? He's saying it's been 1,000 days, right? If after 300 days, if I knew that I was getting mugged off by the WBC, I'd probably go down the WBA route, or the WBO route, or the IBF route.
It was all AJ.
But he got offered them on the plate. He didn't have to fight no eliminators. He said, "There you go, Wembley, let's do it." Rematch clause and everything. Boom. But he said no.
And this is what I'm saying. Right? This is my whole point. You can argue and say it was the WBC, they've screwed him and everything, but you can always go around. I mean, we always complain about there's too many different organizations.
I'm saying both can be true.
But he had the options on a plate. He had the Joshua fight there. He didn't take it.
Yeah, I've agreed to that. And I feel like they both can be true. They're not mutually exclusive. So WBC, they've been mugging him off. The other belts, he could have fought AJ again at Wembley. That was his chance. And seeing what Ruiz happened to do to him, I do feel like AJ will probably still be more motivated for the second Dylan Whyte fight than he would have been for the first Ruiz fight. But seeing what Ruiz did, that left hook, if he lands a couple of them, you never know. So he's on the outside looking in. So let's go back to the whole Fury Joshua thing. Is it a foregone conclusion that Fury gets past Wilder?
For me, no, definitely not. I'd say 70-30. I'm 70% sure Fury beats him again.
Yeah, it's definitely not a foregone conclusion, because even after the second fight, people were writing Wilder off, saying he's a bum, he's got no skill, he's just got a puncher's chance. He's always had a puncher's chance. He's the hardest hitting heavyweight probably in history, and there's a reason why he's knocked every guy out that he's faced bar Fury. And even if they fight tomorrow, it's going to be the same thing. Like, Fury will try and outbox him for 36 minutes, but all it takes is 1 second for Wilder to connect clean, and Fury's probably going to get knocked out. So I give Wilder probably a 20% chance, but that's probably 10%. 10% less.
Do you not think Fury's going to rush him again, like he did in the second fight?
I think the tactics,
rather than trying to outbox him.
No, I think the tactics will probably be more the first fight than the second fight. I think Wilder will probably be a little bit better equipped and trained more towards what happened the second fight.
Why would Fury do that though? It's not really in his interest. You saw the first fight. If he outboxed him and still was like a second away from getting knocked out.
I just think if Wilder has a decent camp with a decent training method and schedule with the right trainers, then he should be able to combat that style that he fought in the second fight.
No,
I think Fury is actually
too small. I think
I disagree with that. He's going to need more than one training camp to do that. Like, you don't just develop those skills over one training camp. The fact is, he hasn't got those skills to be fighting on the back foot, and he hasn't shown anything in terms of. He's got to work on footwork, he's got to work on movement, he's got to work on range. There's a lot of things to work on in a short period of time. Nah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
unless he trains.
I feel like Wilder, he like his sort of mystique. It's not even mystique because it's real. The power's real, but that power is what prevents anyone from just rolling up on him. Usually, this is before Fury. So normally he can kind of hold center of the ring, nice distance, sort of mid to long range, lull him to sleep and catch him. No one's ever really stepped to him like Fury did. And I kind of agree with David in terms of Wilder learning how to deal with a big Fury coming at you with pressure may take more than one camp. But I do feel like, Wilder's not the guy to be complacent about. That's how he knocks guys out. Like, guys will be in there outboxing him, touching him, getting success.
Feeling confident.
Lulls them to sleep, and then boom. Like, so I'm similar to size 75. I might even be 65, 35, maybe 40, maybe.
Maybe Wilder takes this as a 3-round fight.
And
he trains that way and just goes all out.
That's what I think he should do, literally.
He should, but
make it a war.
If he telegraphs his shots. If
I was him, I'd just go out swinging, and I would say, you know what, fuck it, it's my last opportunity. If I lose this fight to Fury, I'm probably not going to get another world title fight for at least a couple of years. I'm already aging a bit. I'm not actually that skilled technically, so let me just see if I can knock this bastard out in 3 rounds. That's what
he's going to have to. You have to try and do what Danny Garcia does and punch with Fury. Literally, Fury starts to load up, just punch as well, and he's got to, bank on him landing first or landing the big punch first, because he's not going to. We see in the first fight he's not going to be able to outbox him at all. In the second fight, he's not going to be able to. I don't think he's got the physical size to hold Fury off rushing him, let alone the skills to fight on the back foot. So I think his best bet is literally meet him in the middle and just try and land that right hand first and get the fight over and done with. Otherwise, it's going to be another 12 round schooling or whatever it was, 6-7 round beatdown.
Yeah, I agree. I think meet him middle of the ring, punch with Fury. Obviously, Fury can be quite sort of cute with it and maybe sort of disguise what he's coming with. But either that or just work on something in camp to be able to at least work behind a jab going backwards. you know, and stay out of danger. I think stay out of danger and not take too much damage. If he can not take too much damage in the first half, and then get into that second half of the fight, he can possibly lull Fury into something. But yeah, I'm going with Fury. I mean, we've seen Fury outbox him, we've seen Fury take him out, so I'd be surprised if Fury was to lose. I'd be kind of disappointed as well, because we want the mega fight, don't we, now?
Yeah, that's
Does
it.
does anyone not see this AJ Fury fight happening next year?
Well, COVID and that, you never know what the industry's going to be saying by then. I know they're rolling out some fights. It'll be a shame if it has to be done behind closed doors. Imagine
that. I mean, pay-per-view sales will be great.
Wow. Yeah.
But the 100,000 people that can't see it live.
No, that fight has to have fans, man. It has to have fans. I don't care if they delayed it to the end of next year. That has to have fans.
Flying to Saudi, yeah?
Yeah, take it wherever, literally. Wherever, that has to have fans. Take it to New Zealand if you have to.
I mean, realistically, I think Saudi's an option on the table. I think it's a strong option on the table. I'd be really disappointed if it wasn't at Wembley. I think a size of that stature, of that magnitude between two British fighters for all of the belts, like, it would be impossible to fathom it not being in
or
the
Vegas. UK. I'd take it in Vegas, to be honest.
Not even Vegas.
I think that's a good shout. That's a really good shout.
Not even Vegas for me.
Neutral venue as well.
Yeah, realistically.
No.
Tap into both markets then. Because the UK pay-per-view sales will still be just as good if it was at 4 a.m. at 10 p.m. Everyone's going to want to watch that fight, buy the fight, record the fight, watch it first thing in the morning. Then you're going to get the US market who are interested. Now, Fury's done a good job in building his profile in the US.
Yeah.
So you tap into both markets. I think Vegas would be probably a good shout. If not, obviously, personally, I'd love it to be in UK, but I think if not, Vegas would be the place for me.
Looking at Vegas, you're only looking at 20,000.
Yeah, big crowd's a big crowd, but 80,000 at Wembley. Like, when's the next time we're going to see Wembley packed?
Because of COVID, you mean?
Yeah.
Probably going to take a while.
Yeah, I mean, all right, if we remove COVID from the equation, yeah, Wembley, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but then you're talking about stadiums and arenas everywhere in the West, especially. Like, even if you have it at Vegas, like, you're talking about 20,000 people at the MGM. Not even 20. I mean, it's what, 12,500, 15,000.
Yeah. I do see them getting to that stage quicker than us, just because of how the states are formulated in terms of each individual state. I'm not sure what the rates are in Nevada. I know they've opened up hotels again in Vegas and stuff. So
so the casinos are open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
pool parties happening as well.
Yeah, getting to that point maybe soon.
They never stopped in Florida, did they?
Nope.
Exactly. Like, so if that happens, it will be a shutdown. But when they first announced this fight thing, I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, he's going to do that. But apparently they negotiated it via Daniel Kinahan, the Irish legend. I think we'll call it that, because I heard there's a bit of controversy as to why it took him to negotiate this big fight, and what that means for boxing. Because I know that they linked him to the incident at the weigh-in in Belfast, didn't they? It was about a year or two ago now. So
shooting.
Yeah. So they feel like there's going to be some sort of underworld involvement at the top of boxing. Can you imagine that at the weigh-in of Fury AJ?
Someone take. So who was it? Which it wasn't a press conference. It was a
weigh-in.
No, it was an altercation. No, I'm talking about it was like in the 70s where you had like two heavyweights and someone pulled out a gun and shot them or something. I want to say it was Ali and somebody. Somebody took.
You thinking of when Ali burst into Liston's training camp or whatever, and and someone pulled out a pistol or something.
Someone pulled out a pistol.
And shot in the air. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it was blanks, wasn't it? It was like.
Yeah. And Ali ran off, with his crew, yeah. That was it.
Was it Ali who ran off, wasn't it?
Yeah, ran off.
Can you imagine someone doing that today? I mean, the the closest thing was probably Hey Chisora, right? Can you imagine someone pulling out a gun in a press
Yeah.
conference today?
They'll
In a fight of that
outlaw
magnitude.
they'll outlaw boxing in this day and age. Everything's sensitive, like they say. But boy, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, has anything else happened since we've been gone?
I think they're making Lomachenko and Tio in September.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
Great fight.
very, very good.
Great fight.
We'll definitely cover that.
Ryan Garcia, let's talk about him having a little fallout with his promoter. Getting aired on Twitter by De La Hoya.
It's so annoying Bex isn't here because like he just can't see through his De La Hoya hating lenses.
You know what?
It's just-
I mean, I don't know where you guys stand on this. I mean, look, just to give a bit of context to people who are watching. So, Ryan Garcia said no to a fight on July 4th, basically. Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, then tweeted tagging Ryan Garcia in the tweet as well, just to take the piss. Basically saying that due to Ryan Garcia not accepting to fight on July the 4th, we are now headlining with Virgil Ortiz instead.
Yeah.
And Ryan Garcia then quoted the tweet saying, "You know, you're not supposed to be hating, you're my promoter." Where do you guys stand on this? Because I'll be honest, as far as I'm concerned, I think De La Hoya is well within his right to out Ryan Garcia the way that he has. And I'm fully on De La Hoya's side on this because far too many times we've heard Garcia complain about how much money he's getting paid. He's rejected fights. He's calling out people on Twitter, but then saying that he's got like a huge Twitter following, so he doesn't need to do X and Y. He's a bitch. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he's a bit of a bitch. And
Did you have him number one the other week in terms of hot prospects, whatever?
Yeah.
no, absolutely not.
Above Haney and Tio.
How times
I had
change, right?
No, not Tio. No, Tio is my number one.
Oh, yeah.
Tio is my
Stop
guy.
lying.
Tio is my guy, bro. Tio is my guy. But no, I had Garcia above Tank.
Yeah, no, I agree with you because Garcia is the one who takes things to Twitter. Because he's the so-called social media star and he's got such a great following, that's why he wants to tweet that he's unhappy with Golden Boy, that he's getting shafted. Last time, I think he managed to get a new contract because they smoothed it out. This time, he's like, no, what do you think? What are you talking about? Like, it's just tone deaf. Like,
But this guy's only got 700,000 followers. Man's acting like he's got 70 million or something. It's like 700,000. It's not a lot.
And during COVID, you're turning your nose up at a purse that
200 grand.
Yeah, that you were that's what you like the fight. I think the last fight he got like half a million, I think. But then before that it was like 250, and then before that it was like 100k. So it's like 200k during COVID for a fight.
Fight who?
Huh?
Who was he lined up to fight?
Not sure. I don't think it was a notable name. I could be mistaken.
So not even a big name.
Yeah, this
But I
just
think
at least
these
a week for research anyway. But fresh
I
off
think
COVID, like get
I think
out.
with these things as well, though, De La Hoya needs to be the promoter and just take it offline, innit? Just take him into a room, say, listen,
Yeah,
you need to stop this Twitter nonsense or social media stuff. If you've got a problem, let's just deal with it face to face in the room, iron it out and move on.
This isn't the first time.
I don't really like to see promoters going back and forth over Twitter. I think it's just pathetic.
Yeah, but this isn't the first time these two have clashed online because Garcia's called him out for similar stuff previously. So
you know,
if I was De La Hoya, I'd just be like, yeah, fuck this. Like, you're a
you know,
dick.
the reason I'm not really blaming De La Hoya is because, yeah, like you said, Garcia's done this enough times, and it gets to a point where, I mean, you look at De La Hoya's reputation, right? There's a section of fans who are just gonna not take him seriously because of his indiscretions in his private life, and they're gonna jump all over any kind of story that suggests that he's not paying his fighters or he's not doing right by his fighters. So Ryan Garcia's like rocking up now, saying, "Oh, he's not paying me this, he's not paying me that," and people are lapping it up. So I'm with De La Hoya in terms of, right, so you're bringing this to Twitter. I'm gonna shut it down on Twitter as well, just to set the record straight and teach you a lesson. And I'm gonna promote my fighter who was also a great prospect, who's probably a bit further along than you, and is keeping his mouth shut.
And the thing is, what's Garcia actually done so far? Like, he's not even at that level where you can say that he's done this or that.
Shown hand
So
speed and
yeah,
training.
it's just entitlement, self-entitlement, and that for me just kind of shows me either that this guy is a dick or he's got the wrong people around him. Neither of which is going to be good for his career.
He's young anyway, but yeah. Last word, David, on Ryan.
No. I was just gonna say. I remember a couple of weeks back when I said that he's taken the Chris Eubank Jr. route. Watching it unfold now.
Just hitting the heavy bags and training.
Yeah. He's taking that route.
To be fair.
Just watch it unfold. He's gonna fight a couple good fighters, lose to him, and then probably get Mickey Mouse world title belt, and then we'll see.
Well, that's Ryan Garcia, but allow Eubank Jr. man. I don't mind. You know what I mean? He's getting the Roy Jones in a pigeon coop.
And this is the time to do it. Get your training in. Train with the legends like Roy Jones. Get some new skills under your belt if you can develop them this late in your career. You know?
Yeah.
So
Can I just have a final word on something that I saw on Sky Sports earlier this week?
Yeah.
It was, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was Carl Froch's top 5 super middleweights of all time.
He put himself at what? Number 3?
He put himself in at number 3 with Calzaghe at number 4.
That was obvious, though. He's never going to rank Calzaghe higher than him, is he? Who did he have at number 1?
He had Roy Jones at number 1, and he had Andre Ward at number 3.
No, he put himself at 3.
No. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Froch 3, Ward 2, Jones 1.
Yeah, and Calzaghe below him.
Calzaghe 4 and Kessler 5.
You know, maybe we'll break down that list next week. But I mean, there's nothing to say because that's Froch, right? Froch is Froch.
One of the things he said for his reasons for Calzaghe was he'd never really done anything. He'd never really beaten anybody. He beat a faded Eubank, and that was his probably his best win. And Lacey was a bum who was hyped.
Okay.
He was quite complimentary towards Andre Ward, it was more of a backhanded compliment. He was like,
would he accept calling Butte a bum then?
Question.
You could put Butte in the Lacey bucket, definitely. I do think Froch has a better resume than Calzaghe, though, but that's
I agree.
I do. And for the record, I don't feel like Lacey or Butte were bums, by the way.
I think Froch has the better resume by a mile.
Yeah.
But I think Calzaghe would have schooled him. But absolutely, Froch. I don't even think it's a serious question. I think Froch's resume, and I've said this a number of times,
Calzaghe would have slapped him up, man. Let's be honest.
Yeah, as much as I hate the guy probably has the best resume in the last 20, 30 years.
Froch.
Froch.
With a box runs around him.
Yeah, no. Froch has always been he's always stepped up and fought his guys close, but Calzaghe would have got
slapped up by Calzaghe, and I'm using the term "slapped up" appropriately.
Technically, he would have got slapped.
You clock what I did there.
He got pity-patted rabbit punches. He'd have got the lot.
Anyway,
it would have been funny watching Froch just try and run headfirst through them punches, though, as he does.
Do you know what?
Grit his teeth, chin down, and try and iron him out.
It probably would have been better to watch than because Calzaghe fought Saki Obika, and that was a horrible fight.
Yeah,
so he might have just done something similar there, but yeah, let's see. We may touch on that next week. Actually, try and break that down as a fantasy fight. All right. So, but yeah, cool guys. So nice one. We'll see you all next week, and David, aka Blade, will be back. Yeah. All right. Have a good one. See you next week.
See you later.